can see the former honorable ministers, former directors in the Ministry of Sports. I can see veterans in the field of sports that are here, that have transmitted from being active international or national people that have, sportsmen that have represented Nigeria internationally. They've transmitted to being sport administrators, and now they are still, some of them are still in sports administration. So we are all aware of the challenges of sports in Nigeria. I will underscore the challenges. Sports in Nigeria is not appropriately managed. Sports in Nigeria is not appropriately administered, because the testimonials and the milestones are going to speak to us. I don't think we've gotten to where we should be, and we have not fully harnessed sports for development in this country. We have not fully harnessed sports to optimize the benefits of business and enterprise and full engagement that sports brings. So this bill was moved out of the consideration to make sure that all these anomalies are corrected, so that we can fully optimize the benefits of sports as an industry. Sports as an engager of the populace. Over 50% of Nigerians can be gainfully employed in sports across all age groups, across all tribes and creeds. We have agreed, awesomely here that there's no better unifier of any nation, not just Nigeria, than sports. Do we continue to look at sports the way it is, or do we make sure that we do a SWOT analysis of where we are in sports and make sure that we put preemptive measures to make sure that the right legislation puts pros on the right steed to make sure that we really garner it for development? I've had the privilege of being a commissioner for sports in Kwara State. Now I have the privilege of being in the National Assembly. I've seen the problem like you have seen the problem. I've also had my time in sports as an enthusiast. I was not fortunate enough to carry the colors of Nigeria, but I've always been an enthusiast of sports as a young man and as a growing man, and I'm still one. So finding myself here, I realized that we needed to put some things in place, and that is the main consideration of this bill. This bill is divided into 8 parts, and it has 68 sections. The part 1 establishes the National Sports Commission to, among other things, promote, coordinate, implement grassroots national and international sports programs for Nigeria in liaison with the relevant sports professions or federations, and facilitate the active participation of Nigeria in regional, continental, and international sports, including sports administration. The second part of the bill establishes the National Sports Commission Board to manage and superintend over the affairs of the Commission. I want to put it on record that the NSC is not scrapped. If you look at it legally, it's still subsisting. But what this bill seeks to achieve is to legislate it and make sure that it will not be left at the whims and caprices of political appointees like me that might find ourselves. Part 3 deals with the appointment of the Director General of the Sports Commission and other staffs. Part 4 proposes to establish the Nigerian Sports Development Fund for the obvious reason of encouraging other non-governmental means of funding sports in this country. Until we separate funding of sports as desired by the FIFA and IOC from government, then we cannot stop the meddlesomeness and interloopingness of the executive or government into sports. So we are trying to achieve an independence funding for sports and properly harness sport development by a consistent line of financing for sports. And how do we want to achieve this by this bill? Every corporate entity in this country contributes 0.5% of their accessible profit to the sports fund through the FIRS. If it is a company that deals in sports lottery, you are contributing 2%. If we have this money effectively collected by the FIRS and channeled to the Sports Development Fund, trust me, we're not going to have a lot of problems like we have right now. Even, we know separately, we've always asked the question, who is going to pay our technical advisors and people that we bring to support our teams? When we have this, we have proper funding. The funding can also be of benefit to individual athletes that carry the flag of this country. We see a lot of athletes because they want to go to Olympics, they're talking about GoFundMe. they are opening websites where they get global donations. We should have an independent fund that is going to properly manage to develop sports. We are also proposing the bill so that Part 5 and 6 propose financial provisions as well as the registration and regulation of sports licensing, respectively. Specifies the manners the way sports federations are registered and regulated. We need to have a compendium of federations and we need to regulate their activities. Any situation where you don't have a proper data bank of federations and a compendium of their activities, you're creating an avenue for portfolio sports federations who are just there to go and look at any opportunity of getting visas for travel or getting money from NGOs and not doing the real thing. We have to regulate these activities. Number 7 is saying this with the arbitration of sports and create a sports dispute panel. This is in tandem with the contemporary situation globally. Okay, contemporary situation globally. Having said this, I can speak to this for a long time, but I won't take your time. I want to stick to my time. Yes, I'll wrap up. Gentlemen, we have an opportunity to contribute our own part. I've had people that said this is against us because, okay, we had a funding in place before, maybe some kind of funding structure in place before. Anything that is not legislated, gentlemen, is not properly secured. So let us make sure that we secure the necessary funds to make sure that there is proper administration, management, and funding for sports in Nigeria, so that generations after us can thank us when sports delivers all the necessary dividends that is deliverable to us as a nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member, for giving us inputs. Next, Honourable San Pajok.